Tell me again, can we be lovers and friends? Oh, it's a good look, baby. Thank y'all for joining me tonight for another episode of This of the Asia. When y'all get in here, make sure that you like the video. If you are watching from YouTube, make sure that you like the video, you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you hit the notification bell. That way that you can get the notifications whenever I go live. Also, if you're watching on Facebook, make sure that you like the page and you follow the page. That way you will get the notifications whenever I go live. Also, if you're watching on Facebook, and you're watching from the page called Locked and Loaded, make sure that you are clicking Death of the Asia on this video so you can go over there and watch from my actual page, because Locked and Loaded is a hub for Death of the Asia. Make sure that you actually click on Death of the Asia and you are liking and following Death of the Asia. If you're going to share the video, which that's something I definitely want you guys to do, if you're going to share the video, make sure that you are sharing it from Death of the Asia. I definitely appreciate that. Tonight, we're going to have an awesome show. I want you guys to, give me your input, your feedback down in the comments. I definitely appreciate that. That keeps me going, keeps everybody engaged. So I definitely appreciate the comment section. I'm going to have a guest that's going to be on the show, which is going to be Montoya Smith. He's going to be joining me. And also, if you would like to join the feed, did I put the link? Hold on one second, y'all. I didn't even put the link in there, y'all, so y'all can join me live. But just make sure that you are, commenting and everything. So tonight's show is going to be whether or not men and women can actually genuinely be friends without there being any sexual tension. Also, we're going to talk about whether or not you will stop being friends with someone that you have been friends with of the opposite sex if your mate disapproved of that friend. And especially if it was somebody that you were friends with before you actually met your mate. So we're going to get into those things. I'm going to try to, Montoya said he'll be on here in just a few minutes. But anyway, so what made me actually want to have this conversation is because of something that, I've experienced before with actually being friends with someone for a long length of time and actually getting to a point where, we ended up, being in a relationship that wasn't the best idea. When I came to think about it, hindsight is always 2020. Just because somebody is a good friend doesn't mean that it's going to make them a good mate. Just the same way a person may not be a good mate, but they might be a good mother. They might be, a good father or whatever. Another thing that made me want to talk about this too is that so often you see situations where men tend to always, I ain't gonna say always, but 9 times out of 10, it seems like when men are friends with women or they do something for women, they always, 9 times out of 10, we say 9 times out of 10, they want something in return. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So I know that there's a lot of women that they always talking about how they feel like it's so disingenuous for men to always want something from them for the things that they do. And I see a lot of women talk about they really wish that they had a male friend, especially a male heterosexual friend. Let's get that very clear, because it's easy for men and women to be friends if one of the parties is homosexual or something like that, because of course they don't have any sexual interest in each other at all. But sometimes it's really hard for heterosexual men and heterosexual women to be friends without there being some type of sexual tension. And I do see a lot of times where women are online and they're like, why is it that I just can't have a man friend without there being something. Oh, hey, Kari. How you doing, sis? Kari said, peace, my true sister. Hey, girl. Thanks for joining me tonight. She always say, girl, you look so pretty. Thank you. I tried to throw a little something or whatever. I wet my head up by mistake, girl. I tried to hide the puffiness or whatever the case may be. So we here. we here. So I'm glad what I tried to do is convey on the screen, because I did try to hurry up and pull it together because I actually just got off work not too long ago. So I'm rushing and dropped something and I bent down, and you know how it is when you got natural hair and you are up for a retwist, it started puffing up on me. So I'm glad I'm looking like a little something, a dry bitch could never. Mm, I sure do hate it. Yes, Lord. But anyway, so yeah. So it's this thing where a lot of women, they be like, I wish I can have a male friend and he didn't, expect anything from me. Now, I will be perfectly honest with you. I have men in my life that I do consider to be I do actually consider to be my friend. I think having men in your life for counsel is very good. I go to these men a lot when it's something that I'm going through in life and I'm just trying to maneuver through circumstances and I just want to just put things into perspective. I would say that a lot of times with women, because we closely relate to each other and we share some of the same experiences, I found that when I'm actually talking to a woman a lot of times about things that I'm going through when I'm trying to actually work through something, a lot of times, because women, we can relate to each other for the simple fact that we're both women. A lot of times you have those cases where the woman kind of embrace you from an emotional aspect, sympathize with you, and kind of like cheerlead you on, and make you feel good in the midst of the BS. And that's not always good. I will honestly say that's not always good. And for me, I try to look to men for counsel because they're not so emotionally invested in what is going on as far as their perspective or anything, because they are men. So they're not as emotionally invested in a situation. They don't experience what it is that I may be talking about because they're men. So a lot of times it's easier for them to give me a little bit more logical input. I say that, like, I'm not trying to say that women are not logical or direct or anything, but in cases like that, a lot of times men don't coddle your emotions, and they pretty much provide you with solutions more so than anything. And so in that case, I really like the fact that I have male friends that I can go to for counsel, and so I really do appreciate them in my life. Kyrie also said, you did that, a businesswoman. Get it done. Thank you, girl. Okay, y'all hold tight. I have Montoya Smith about to come on the line. He's pulling in from a hard day of work. We got a hard working man on the line, and living up to his commitments and his promises. He said he was gonna come on here with me, and he's here by any means necessary. So I definitely appreciate you for being here with me tonight, Montoya.
I'm glad to be here. Can you hear me? Because I obviously hadn't got home yet, but I didn't want to leave you out to drive too long.
Yes, I can hear you, and it doesn't sound bad with you driving or anything. So that's dope. That's awesome. You've been here before. You guys, you've seen Montoya Smith, Black Soccer, aka Black Socrates. And do you want to reintroduce yourself to the platform, or you want to just jump right into it?
Yeah, I'm the curator of the Mental Dialogue Community Club. We rock every Saturday morning with the Mental Dialogue Talk Show. Deasia, we kind of help each other out. She's one of our queens of intellect, so I bring her on my show from time to time as well. every Saturday morning. The Mental Dialogue Talk Show, where all I ask is that you think we're the best in the world at hard conversations on race, sex, and gender. So I'm glad to be on Destiny Asia again. Last time we rocked it out pretty tough. So looking
Yeah,
forward
we
to
did.
looking forward to whatever whatever you're looking for tonight. Let's do it. Well, thanks for
Okay, let's go. So I don't know what part of the show that you heard, like when you came in, but I was just explaining, the way, the reason why I'm appreciative of having men in my life that I do consider to be friends, because I look to them for counsel a lot of times, because of the simple fact that men don't coddle your emotions as much as women, and because women are women and we share some of the same experiences, we relate to it in a different type of way. So we really don't get like a lot of answers. We kind of get like, we get support from an emotional standpoint, but we don't always get what we need to hear in order to fix what it is that we're going through. It's kind of like, a lot of times if I'm talking to a woman, I could end up sitting in my bullshit,
right,
because it's going to be somebody that's going to be championing what it is that I'm saying, and not so much as giving me correction. Whereas talking to a man, because he doesn't necessarily share that same experience, because he's a man, not he might share similar experiences, but not from the same perspective.
right.
So he's able to give me more insight on how to maneuver through the circumstances, versus just sitting in it and just being like, yeah, girl, you right, and just making me feel good about it.
Right.
And
But
so that's what I was saying.
no, absolutely. The thing about this though, Deasia, is to be honest, both sexes make the same mistake. And the same mistake, because if you think about when you start getting, when you're young and you start getting to the idea of you like it, if you're liking the opposite sex, if you will, it's just common nature that, like if I'm young and I start liking a girl, I tell my boys, right? So your boys start telling you ideas on how to get at her and stuff like that. And your girls, you tell your girls who you like. So we actually, as humans, culturally, talk to our own gender about the opposite sex. It's actually all the way backwards. So while you're absolutely right, and it's dope that you have men counsel, many men don't have a woman to counsel, because the different perspectives per gender, it actually works the exact same way for me trying to holler at a girl. I can holler at my boys. It's not so much that my guys are going to support my bullshit like women might do for one another and coddle emotions. Guys are not going to do that, right? But because y'all have a different perspective, and sometimes due to those emotions, they don't understand why the woman's acting that way. Whereas my girlfriend, who gives me counsel, I'm reading it one way in my logical mind. My girlfriend's like, nah, hell no. That ain't gonna work, Montoya, because she understands the woman's mind. So you
Right.
both sexes fucked up all the time.
Right. So it's pretty much like you're talking to somebody, but you're not getting a better understanding, because that person that you're talking to, they think just like you. So you're talking to you're talking to another man about women, and so you're still only going to get a male's perspective of women, and you're not going to get a higher understanding, versus if you were to talk to one of your girlfriends, because she's going to give you the perspective from a woman, and that way you could better understand the situation that you are currently in.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you can still hear me, I'm here. I can barely hear you, so I hope I'm coming through clear. But I heard what you said. But absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
because here it is. Like you're absolutely right at how men, to a degree, like you said, not to say that men are more logical, but we're just simpler in the sense of how we get to logic. Women are just as logical, but y'all process to get there is a little different. And so because it's
Yeah, we're a little
different,
bit more detail oriented, and we think
exactly.
about the particulars.
Right. So the process is this. Whereas if I ask my partner about what this woman did, we both can come to agreement that don't make sense. We might be right that it doesn't make sense. But my girl's gonna be able to say, yeah, I understand it don't make sense, but this is why she did that. That's the
Right.
insight I need to if I'm trying to make this work. Whereas me and my partner, all we gonna settle on is, man, women that don't make sense. We ain't got no answer after that. We might be right. What she did might not make no damn sense, but it don't help me.
Right. Hey, Miss Diane. Hey, Miss Diane Darnell. Miss Peanut, how you doing tonight? Thank you for tuning in to the Desk of the Asia. Um, but you're absolutely right about that. But the thing is, I was talking to this one guy, and he said that it's absolutely impossible for men and women to genuinely be friends if they are both heterosexual. He said now it's different when it's a guy or a woman that maybe a homosexual or something like that, and so now they don't have any sexual interest in each other.
Right,
But he
right,
said
right.
that it's impossible. He was supposed to come on tonight, so I'm gonna be the voice for him. But he
Yeah, I
did
respect.
say that it was impossible for men and women because they're attracted. They're both men and women are sexually attracted to each other, and he said that a man always in the back of his mind, if he has a woman that is his friend, in the back of his mind, it's always this thing where he'll hit it if the opportunity presented itself. He said he'll take her down through there if the opportunity presented itself. And he also said that a lot of men befriend women. Like sometimes they'll befriend a woman that they're not actually interested in because she has a friend that he might be interested in. And so that kind of get him like in a closer proximity to the friend
Right.
that he's actually into. So he said that it's absolutely impossible for a man to be a friend, a real friend, without
Mhm.
there ever being any like sexual tension or anything.
Right.
So what you
So
feel about that?
so I'm gonna I'm gonna lean towards he's right to a degree. And the degree, which we always do. I'm coming in the house, so I'm gonna get the light on. But
Okay, take your time.
the degree, which I think is, oh, did I go out? Okay, I'm back. All right. So the degree is the nuance is where he's a little incorrect, but he's mostly right. Let's talk about it. And you and me, we do nuance very well, so that's where the difference is. But so for the most part, Chris Rock said this as a joke, and it's relatively correct when he says men don't have women friends. We have what I'm not giving the exact quote, but something to the effect of it's just women we haven't fucked yet. So, so to a degree, if you ever seen that Chris Rock joke, which is one of my favorite comedians, and
Yeah, I
so to
love
a
Chris Rock.
degree,
That's my
the
favorite
brother,
comedian.
yeah, mine too. I didn't know. Okay, cool. That's my favorite comedian too. So, all right, cool. So with that said, so the brother is mostly right, mostly. And here's the mostly part. So for the most part, even in the event that that maybe they haven't explored a relationship, and the situation may be a situation because of whatever their difference is or why they haven't explored the situation together. To a degree, even if that man has an opportunity, so he's right in that in most cases. And when I say most cases, meaning, but even that, if it doesn't develop anything, um, if a brother is genuine about this woman, and because it's two different perspectives here. So you can generally really care about the woman, or you might, some guys are just being friends in hopes of one day going up through there, as you said it, right? But that's two different perspectives.
Smashing.
If you're just trying to go, yep. But if you're just trying to go up through there, you're kind of playing a BS role. So your information may be in tune or information that tries to get you in there. But for a brother who generally cares about this sister that he's attractive enough to sleep with, but if he generally cares and actually sees her as somebody he would actually really want to be with to a degree, he's going to be more genuine in that situation because if it develops, he don't want to have played no games as her friend. He doesn't want to have given her no bullshit because then that becomes an issue if he ever gets his opportunity. So to a degree, that advice is pretty decent in that situation. And then when I say mostly right, here's the space where you're getting good counsel is the that may, even if a relationship was explored at one time, a lot of people don't understand something that people really miss on. Even if they explored a relationship at one point in the past, or there's no attraction, that's when it can happen. And what I mean by here's what people are afraid of when people have had a relationship in the past. People are so afraid of that. And I do, and let me be real clear here. And I get that, for example, let's say you and I were dating, right, DeAsia? And let's say had dated in the past. If one of us hadn't gotten completely over one another, that's what people are always so afraid of. And so I get that that's what people are afraid of. But here's something that people never consider. If people have had a past relationship and they are just friends after that, the reason they're just friends is because they've already explored and figured out we can't make it together for whatever reason.
Right.
So people don't realize the person you have the least to worry about is the past person that the two of them decided we can't make it together. It's really the only reason those they're free to go do what they do. So people actually are most afraid of the person who now will be best counsel, because here it is. A lot of times people break up and don't stay friends. That's what most people do. But if you break up and stay friends, so whatever went right, maybe you were honest with each other, you didn't break up over no bullshit or whatever the case may be, but whatever amended it, to be friends after you've had intimate situations, but to stay friends after that, at that point, you only care about the best interest of the other person. So at that point, you
Yeah.
get great information. So it can be done, but I've described a lot of scenarios, and the ones that I just explained is the one that is the best. You actually get great information from a person who knows you like a mug. They've been intimate with you,
Right. Because they've been with you.
and they now, like you might even improve on the thing that didn't work between y'all. They usually are happy that the other person figured it out. I know that's what happened. I,
Exactly.
I've been glad to see my ex girls get married or have situations, and then whether we can stay friends was based on their husband. I always respect that situation. If the husband
Right.
did it, I want her to be happy, so I'm completely out the way. I got a couple of friends. I'm cool with their husbands because their husbands understand this one unique thing that most men don't understand. They don't have the security to understand it, and vice versa. The women are not secure. But at the end of the day, if you've been together and ain't together, there's a good ass reason. Even if you don't tell people why y'all not together, you not together.
Right.
So
Exactly. And another thing that came to mind for me is that I will say that I'm a very attractive woman. So a lot of times it's a little hard, you know what I'm saying, for a single man, to be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna just be her friend or whatever the case may be. Because sometimes those thoughts might,
I
go through a
said most.
person's mind. Now, I have found in a lot of cases where I, like people who are attached to somebody and they're of the opposite sex, I have been able to like really develop like real genuine meaningful relationships with them where these people have never tried anything with me. They have no interest in me because they're in their situation, they're happy, they love their spouse or whatever. I've never tried anything with them. And I have a lot of friends that are actually attached to other people, and it's no issue, and I show the respect to their woman or whatever. I had one friend that the woman had a problem with me, and this is what's going to segue into the next part of this conversation. I had one friend where his woman actually had a problem with me, but here was the thing. I knew him way before I knew her. And me and him, we started, in the sandbox together, and so it was never one of those things, when you go that way back, it's really easier to be genuine friends then because you kind of look at this person like your brother or your sister anyway. So, but this particular lady, she didn't like me. She had an issue with me, and it was because I was single. I was young. I'm single. I'm beautiful. All this old kinds of stuff. I have this history with this person. I know him like the back of my hand, and so it was like, you know what? I got a problem with her. I'm intimidated by her, and so there was this thing where he kind of just started because I didn't have a man in certain parts of, because we knew each other forever, it'd be times where I didn't have a man. And in those cases, my friend will step in and help me with things like in the case of an emergency, or I need to borrow a couple dollars or something like that. Whatever the case may be, my friend will step in for that. And then it became a thing where it was just like, she started having a problem when he was of assistance to me. And then it was this thing where she used to say stuff like, you act like you care about her more than you care about me. But here's the thing. He was on this thing where like, this is my friend and I love my friend, and this was my friend before I met you, and my friend gonna be here when if you were to leave me. You know what I'm saying? I don't have this emotional connection with her like that. She ain't gonna stop being my friend, but you might stop being my woman. You get what I'm saying? And so it was that whole thing, but
Well,
I kind of like removed myself from the situation because it was too dramatic for me.
right.
But
And that's smart that you did that. And I used to be just like him. Because I kept, like, I had one of my first best friends was a girl for 14 years. And I have another
uh-huh.
sister, girl consider my sister. So I literally, because I was in the 7th grade when this girl became my best friend. So because I had done it so young, I always said what you just said. She been here all. I don't know if you're gonna be here, but she gonna be here. So I used to say that all
Hmm.
the time. But I'll say, as I got older and dealt with more married couples who kind of showed me how things should be, I now have a complete respect for that was actually wrong. But I didn't, but in my naivety, I didn't know it at the time. And
I wasn't gonna
saying,
let him risk his relationship because of me when it wasn't that serious. But
yeah,
he was like on the thing where he was like, going to bat and all that. And I wasn't even giving it a whole bunch of energy, but it was
I
like he
understand.
was more so like up in arms. He would
Right,
call me complaining mad because she
right,
got this to
right.
say and all this. So he was being his frustration to me, and I'd be like, well, as a woman, sometimes we can. I was telling him from a woman, like, sometimes we can be a little possessive, jealous, or whatever the case may be. And it's reasons why she feels this way, and rightfully so. We can't take that away from her. We
Right.
probably should sever ties to an extent or whatever. And it was like, hell no, he like, no, you got she ride or
That's
die. You know what I'm saying? That's how
how
he was.
Yeah, I was the same way when I was younger. I now, as I'm older, realize exactly what's wrong with it. You handled it absolutely correct. But I used to be the same way. Like I pretty much whoever I was dealing with, I would introduce them to my best friend girl. Once they got to a certain level, then
Shit, I
boom, this
got introduced
introduction.
to his girls before his and family members got introduced to his girl.
Right. That's
Mm.
how I move with so tight, same way. Like I said, in my naivety, but at the time, that's the line I was holding, and so my girl had to accept that this is just my friend. Now, it definitely helped that I'm a very honest and loyal person, so that helped. But it didn't always go. It kind of sometimes I got in some of those same situations, and for me, I was making it clear, you you're not gonna get to choose. Like, she's part of my life. But now I've come to understand that at the end of the day, if I pick someone who I'm going to build this legacy with, and like you said, rightfully so, if they got that issue, and it could be some levels of insecurity or whatever, right? Whereas I don't really like to deal with insecure people. However, there is a different level to your best friend being a woman. So I'm saying different level in this sense.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never gonna deal with just a woman that just have a lot of insecurity because I'm not, so it don't fit for me, right? So I wouldn't deal with, one that's just tripping on anybody, whoever, whatever, right? However, since everybody doesn't understand what we just said, if I get a sister, I don't have a right to make her say, "Well, this woman is so close to you." So if there's any woman that can make her insecure, it's gonna be the one that I resort to for everything. So my point being
Right.
is, while I accept a lot of insecurity, if my lady has an issue with my tight woman friend, and same thing I've done for my girls who I've been tight for and looked out for the same way you said, right? Look out for them time to time. They need a man for this or that, especially when they didn't have anybody. If their man had an issue with me, I was cool with never talking to them again because I want their relationship to win.
Like
You
to
know what I mean?
flourish.
Because at the end of the day, Yeah, because at the end of the day, as much as I'm loyal and don't like and keep my friends for life, well, my friendship step is I know she good. I know this is not what she would do, but for the sake of them making it, because at the end of the day, when you
You
70 and
still
80
want your
years
friend to be
old,
happy.
yeah, happy, and that's who pension she gonna get one day, not mine. So
Right.
I'll a friendship we had, and I'm gonna be the bigger friend to say I'm out your way because I never want your man to have an issue with me. Now my friends who their husbands are not like that, we still tight because their husbands get it. You know what I mean? So at the end of the
Exactly.
day, uh, you know what I'm saying? Whatever that spouse wants, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, and you know what? I've grown to realize that I'm not a person. I don't like insecure people. I don't like jealous people. It scares me. Just bottom line, it scares me. So here's the thing. I do feel like we shouldn't always be dismissive of people's insecurities if they're not unrealistic. I know there's some cases where when somebody feel away because it could be something that is not yet just their natural character, their natural well-being, like they're not walking around with their emotions on their sleeves, feeling insecure or jealous or anything like that or whatever, but it's certain things that'll come up that'll spark something to make you want to like protect your space and secure your territory or whatever the case may be.
That,
So if something happens where someone feels some sense of intimidation or some level of insecurity, I do feel like the other person should hear their spouse out, girlfriend, boyfriend, or whatever. They should hear them out to
that,
see where the problem lies, and if it's something that they could correct to make them feel more secure in the relationship, because I do feel like reassurance is very important. And sometimes it be a larger issue that spark the insecurity. It might not necessarily be the other person. It could be something about how their spouse is acting in a relationship, where they might not be giving them a certain amount of attention or anything that they are accustomed to, and then they see certain things, and so now it's a little crack in there that can possibly make them feel insecure. So in this particular case, um because I know that there are times where it's natural. You will feel a little insecure. You will feel a little twinge, like what's going on or whatever. It's gonna spark your curiosity or what's happening over here or whatever the case may be. And it's okay. That's human. But it's not okay to just go off assumption. And if your partner comes to you with something like that, and I feel like it is worth it to actually hear them out and make adjustments if need be, as long as it's not something completely unrealistic. I think it's worth like savaging their relationship to do that.
yeah, for what we're talking about, I mean, my point is, can men and women be best friends? And again, I think your friend is mostly right. I hope I was clear in the scenarios in which
Yeah,
I
you
think
were.
that it can be done. I didn't, and I forgot to highlight the easiest one. It could definitely be done if there's no attraction, and I would say mostly on the man's part. That then that vice is very consent. If there's no attraction, then he's just gonna always give it to you straight, no chaser, as a man would, because he has no incentive. If there's no attraction, then you're getting sound advice. But the other thing that I would say when it comes to to a spouse, at the end of the day, there is no scenario in which, even though you may be great friends, if you are best friends and you are the man and woman that's pulling it off, that is absolutely the scenario that if that spouse is insecure, it's the most understandable, as much as you and that person would hate it. As me and my, as much as me and my, I've had that happen before with somebody I was her best friend, you know what I mean? And while she was married, I didn't talk to her. She got divorced, and now we're friends again. I always knew we would be in that situation, but I would have lived with never talking to her again had he made her happy and them making it, because that's my role, man, right? My role as a friend. If I'm a friend to her and my happiness matters to her, then I'm not fighting for a position. She didn't like it, but had they made it, I had to step out the way. It's a hard thing to do, but that's what a real friend, in my opinion, would do. But when I was younger, I never understood that. I remember causing friends with the same girl that I consider my sister now. Her first husband, I was checking her on, like, how you acting like this? She had just met him at the time. He wasn't her husband. So at the time, I was like, acting like this with a dude you just met. I was checking her on it. Now when this one scenario, um, she ended up saying, Smitty, you saw some stuff. I call me Smitty or whatever. So she was like, I really wish I had to listen to you. But we didn't talk for years. And the issue there, though, was that guy was controlling. And so, he ended up isolating her from her family. And so at the time, I had a bigger heartache where I wasn't cool with how the guy was moving with her. And it was so unique that to not, this one who always confided in me for everything, now I can't talk to her about a situation. That was so weird. And it makes sense because those people who are possessive, that's what they do. They isolate you from your friends and family, whatever. So
then they start abusing you.
Yeah,
that's what happens.
In that situation or whatever. And so, her husband now is like the most amazing dude. Husband. I know him. Just he's a great guy. Whatever.
So now in this situation, y'all are able to be friends because
no issue. So I'm free. Yeah, we back brother and sister. You know what I'm saying? Like I can go to the house, and if we ain't seen each other in a couple of years, he expect us to stay up all night talking, and she don't even stay up all night talking. But just cause we ain't seen each other, he be like, man, I'm about to go to bed. Y'all can stay up. Like he that kind of husband.
He dope. That's really dope because yeah, I actually value having like men as my friend. I actually appreciated it a lot more when I was younger. Because now I need a man. But back then I ain't really interested. I ain't gotta have a whole lot of friends. I just need me a man. You know what I'm saying? But back then it was really good because I had, it was like a level of protection that I had too. As a young girl that was coming up and everything, it was so dope that I had these guys around me. Like, even if they were attracted to me, I never knew it. They never, it wasn't anything where I felt, and I think having men around me, boys to me and whatever, having the guys around me, just kind of like walking me through certain things, being there for me. It was cases where, if I'm feeling bad, if I'm going through something with a little boy, I could talk to them. And I had another, heterosexual man telling me, you beautiful, forget that, like kind of telling me the same things like my homegirl to tell, like, fuck that nigga, you beautiful or whatever, get out here and do your thing, all that kind of stuff. It felt good to have that. And, as a girl coming up, that really was something that helped my confidence. It helped my self-esteem and everything. And it also built a different level of trust in men that I think like a lot of women don't actually have because of some of the things they experienced with as they were younger. Like, as I got older, I started seeing things differently, but I wouldn't say naive when it comes to men, but I would say like, because I was on all the game because I was with my boys, you know what I'm saying? I had my guy friends, so they told me all the game, but I kind of looked at men like superheroes. Like, they can't do no wrong. Like, that's how I looked at men, like, oh, that's a superhero. Like, I wasn't the type of girl that if I went to the gas station or something like that, I didn't feel like I needed to lock my doors. If I seen a group of black men or something, I feel like, oh, I'm finna be safe over here. It's some men over here. So I felt like I'd be safe in those spaces or whatever because of the bubble and the circle that I had, the circle of guys that I had around me, right? But it wasn't until I got older that I was just like, okay, my heart got broken. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, these men are a little fucked up out here. But I saw, it's like one of those things where I knew things were going on, but I was never the one that could be like, okay, that happened to me, or I just kind of really understand it. Everything was like hearsay for me. So for more so than anything, of course I had little instances or whatever, but of course I experienced things, but I had so much like positive reinforcement, positive, like so many positive figures in my life to where it kind of like it outweighed that. You know what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
wait.
So I really feel like it was definitely good to have it when I was much younger.
Right. I would like to talk about that because what happens is, we always have these these dialogues in a sense about the gender war, if you will, and all the stuff that goes on, and stuff you say you see out here now, right? So
Uh-huh.
to a degree, what happens is because you were kind of raised in that type of experience, what happens is you also get the kind of game that to the degree that's why you attracted it so much. So you got enough game to where, as you know, when you say the guys are superheroes because you was just so used to seeing men that was going to protect you. That was, I know a little bit about
Hmm.
your history, but the reality is, like, that can become any woman's reality, and even for men that have issues with tired of seeing how women deal or whatever. What happens is, it's kind of like what you what you come to believe it's gonna be what you attract. What you come to believe is what you're gonna attract. So because you
Mm.
kind of come from that for so long, you still have your circle of men that's still what you know mostly about men. Now, what happens is, like you said, because you had that as a foundation, when you have your one-offs or your one-on situations where maybe a guy didn't do those things or wasn't
Yeah, it
that,
doesn't
you were able
overshadow
to
that.
see it. Well, when it is, here it is. It can't because you had such a good backdrop. Then you actually get to see it for what it actually is. That's a one-off. So what
Yeah.
happens is, so what happens is, here's a mistake that men and women make, and I'll say women right now because we're talking about you, but it works vice versa the same way. So one of the biggest mistakes that we will make is, due to what we're attracting, especially in our intimate situations, you might have repeat bad situations. Let's say 2 to 3 in a row, right? So
Mm.
because that's the thing you desire the most, you start doing a painting a brush because of these 3 negative men that you've attracted. Your girlfriends got their personal relationship because you desire it the most. Because you desire it the most, you're forgetting about all the men who are your friends, all the men that you do call when that motherfucker act up. So you like men acting up while you calling good brothers who ain't like that to help you out with this mug. But you ain't even think about you got these good brothers over here because the situation you wanted to work the most broke your heart. So you're gonna go through that trauma, and that trauma becomes your wide painted brush. But and so you be like, all these men are doing this. You might make a sweeping statement like, oh, most of these men are out here doing this. When the reality is, most of the men that you interact with didn't do none of that shit to you.
Right.
Most of the men you acted opened your door, said what's up, queen, said hello, didn't get at you, or you didn't give a chance to the guy that wouldn't treat you the way this motherfucker treated you. Like, he didn't get a chance. I'm just throwing out. So the cats you messing with create this thing, and then you hear your girlfriend say that's the kind of cats they running with. But then when I run into a sister like you, or sisters that don't have those experiences, they don't know about the bad situations because their attraction was men who did not act like that. So we
Right.
really have to. It's like a big mirror check. Now let's flip it for men. Works the same way for us too. For the men that sisters see out here always talking shit about y'all, those men have no idea that's what they're attracting the exact same thing that they're mad about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
And
their
you know
world
something?
becomes all the.
I'm sorry, you could
I
keep
can't hear you,
going.
so I hope you're talking right now.
Oh, I had to cut
Oh
you
no, I
off.
want you
I'm
to talk. I
sorry.
was
You
letting
could finish. You breaking
you
up.
froze up. I was just letting you know I couldn't hear you if you was. Okay. You was breaking up too, so I don't know what people are hearing out there. But I
Yeah,
wanted you to go
that's
ahead and
your
jump in. You
thing
were about to say.
doing this, you breaking up. But anyway, I was going to say, I had this thing where I used to talk to people and like if I see somebody out, like, okay, this might sound crazy, but I don't like doing stuff by myself. I'm not a really what they call, I'm not an independent person. I'm more of an interdependent person. Like I don't like doing stuff by myself. I don't like doing stuff on my own. And if I feel like, if somebody can help me do it, I'm gonna let them help me do it. I don't like doing stuff my own, right? So me, like I be feeling like women who be like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and just go out and just be doing stuff just to be independent. Like to me, that's kind of silly to me, but that's a whole nother conversation. Because I'm like, you're a woman, you ain't gotta do it. Just go get a man to help you do it. Like, why would you break your back when a man can
And
help
we
you, right?
prefer, and we prefer, like, our biggest thing is to be needed.
Right.
So,
So
I always say the same thing you saying. I'll be like, I know you can do it, but why?
why are you doing it?
Yeah,
So
like this
I
is
used to have this thing.
yeah.
So I used to have this thing, like I used to have this damsel in distress thing, like really bad, right? And
Keep
so,
it.
and I would I would be like if I'm in the store and I'm picking up them big water jugs, if a man on the aisle, I'm gonna be like, excuse me, sir, can you grab this for me? Or if I'm at a gas pump and it's a man in the car by himself and he's still, I'm like, do you mind to pump this? Like, that's the type of person
Hey,
that I am, right?
most times they do it. What? Not what?
Yeah,
Eight,
I don't never
eight,
have no problem with them doing it. Listen, especially when it's cold outside, I'm not pumping no gas. When it's cold outside, I'm pulling up to the gas pump. Somebody finna pump this gas for me. I pay for it, of course, but somebody finna pump this gas for me, especially, like, listen, I don't even have time for it. If I see a man around, I'm finna ask him for his assistance. That's just me. So anyway, it had got to the point I just made a habit of doing that. But it
man.
had got to a point where it was one particular situation where it was like this guy, I asked him to do something and he was just trying to talk to me and all this old kind of stuff. Then it started getting to a point as time went on, it was like when men to help me, it'll be like, they'll try and get something out of me. Or if it was somebody that already knew me, they'll definitely be trying to get something out of me. And it would be so hard. So I'd be like, but you will help your homeboy without any issue. You don't expect to bend him over and nail him to the cross. So why are you, if because you're helping me, it's like I have to give
Because
you my body or something. Huh?
you're a woman. Because you're a
Right, but
woman.
that was the thing that was
Ain't
so
no
disheartening. But listen,
no. Yeah, here. I
it
know that is disheartening to women, but
but listen, let me
it's
finish.
who
Let me
men are.
finish. What? Let me finish while I lose my thought real quick. So one particular instance that kind of like helped me, because for a minute I was like, you know what, I just do stuff myself because I don't want to spread ego, you know what I'm saying, or flat back or nothing for you to help me. And I was just like, I just do things myself. And I had got to the point where I was just doing things myself. And it was this one particular case where my car had broke down. Actually, it was not too long ago. You probably remember this when I blew out my tire when I went
Yeah.
home. I blew out my tire when I went home. I'm in the middle of the expressway by a prison in the middle of the night, and my tire has broke down or whatever. My car breaks down. I'm on the side of the road. My cousin called some guys to help me, which one of the guys was one of her friends' man who has like, tow truck or whatever he got. So when he
Okay.
pulls up, he pull up with a younger cat that, this younger guy that was actually out there doing the work to help me. And so when he was helping me, he was like, man, he was like, why you out here by yourself and all this old kind of stuff. And um, he was like, man, I know this gonna sound, I know you probably get mad at me for this or whatever. He was like, and I don't want you to be offended. I don't want you to feel like I helped you because of this. But he was like, I just can't leave without asking you for your phone number. And he was like, if nothing else, like, can I just take you out to dinner? And I was like, okay, I gave it to him, but it was like, because he did it that way, it made me a little bit better with it. Like now it's like I'm okay with me and helping me again because he did it that way. But it was just that it raised this light bulb that it made me realize that men know what they doing when they doing it. They know that they ain't gotta go there with me or another woman, but they do it anyway. It's kind of like, don't wait until I'm vulnerable and like I'm vulnerable.
So
And it's like
so
I don't have another choice but to say yes because I need you to help me. And here you is, you trying to holler.
here's a chance. Here's a chance to learn something. Y'all don't like it. We know, but
Your
here's
phone
the
breaking.
but.
You say we don't like it,
Here's
but
just a
what?
chance to learn. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
yeah.
Okay. So here's a learn something. So this kind of goes back to earlier when you say you seek your partner's, counsel, and they, they're gonna be the coddling and stuff like that or whatever. So here's a reality. So, I quite often, I have a community club, so quite often I'm definitely looking out for the sisters without any of that intention. Quite often or whatever, which I know sisters appreciate, and we understand the sisters appreciate that. However, the however is don't I think it'll be smart because again, this is how men are, and for anybody that says men shouldn't do that or don't holler at me when I'm vulnerable, I hear what you're saying. Here's the truth, whether you like it or not. So if you accept the truth, I think you can get better with it. Here's the truth. If I was attracted to you and would have hollered at you and it hadn't been a stressful situation, I'm gonna be mad as hell if I don't holler at you when I'm helping you. The situation has caused me to help you and I'm attracted to you. So now, even though I'm helping you sincerely, like the dude said, I gotta ask for your number. And he trying to do it correctly because you don't want you to be offended because we know that y'all can be offended. But at the end of the day, here's the reality, whether people respect it or not. And some people think this is just me giving men carte blanche to holler at you. Here's what men are doing regardless. At the end of the day, we're playing the numbers game. Here's the numbers game for men. We take 9 no's to get to 1 yes. That's period, point blank. Even the so-called men with women, they number might be 8 no's to get the yes. And they the 7 no's to get the 1 yes is the players. They win more than 1 out of 9. So I'm trying to break down this because we deal with rejection. I'm not talking about we weak because we deal with rejection. Men that can't deal with rejection are the weaker men that cause a lot of problems sometimes. So I don't act like those men are not problems. However, for those of us who love you, who are not going to abuse you, understand that in that moment, if we attracted, we gonna really help you and make sure you get back on the road, and we gonna try to holler. And if women accept and understand that that's what a man's gonna do, and this is the older women who I know understand that a lot of them use it to their advantage. They
Oh, he cut out. So hopefully, he come back on. But that was he was giving some very good. See, I think he back on. Let me bring him back on. There you go. So you said you were like older women understand to use it as their
they
advantage.
what happens is because they accept this is how men are. And I used to have this one sister in when I used to run this other club when I was in the Air Force. She was the master of this. So I knew quite often certain things we might need for the club. I would send her because I want her to do her thing against this dude that if I asked, it was gonna be an issue. But she put on her charm. Men, we are such suckers for the y'all charm to the degree that if you just flirt with us to get something, not only will we give it to you, we ain't mad if we don't win. We used to object. We're used to rejection. So don't be mad at that man because he sincerely helped you. The main thing is your car got back on the road. Had you not given the number, he was gonna be cool either way. But to say to a man who takes on that much rejection daily, but don't try to holler when it could be his chance, Y'all really are not understanding how we have to get at y'all. So we're gonna get at y'all.
Okay.
No respect to the man who goes over the top and don't respect your no. I'm always gonna respect your no, but don't be mad at me for trying. And here's the other part. I saw this. I just had this dialogue this week with one of my sisters, kind of on Facebook, and I love her to death. She didn't really give me a lot of feedback, but she was up. She was upset. I'm gonna tell you this one approach. I know we gotta go, but she was upset talking about how she was out, I guess, washing the car or something like that. And she's like, how guys would come up and be like, you ain't got no man to do that or whatever. And so she was just saying her response, it was, how I ain't got the man? Why you think I ain't capable of doing it myself? Matter of fact, I'm out here doing this myself because I'm getting away from my man and the children right now. So
I wouldn't do
she was,
that.
but either way, I'm just saying, she was just saying that why was the man assuming she's incapable? And I'm like, Queen,
So
that
she
man ain't
wants to.
assuming you incapable. But it is. I
She
love
just
this. I
trying to
love her to
holler
death.
at her.
Yeah, and that's all I'm saying. We ain't going that deep with it. So what some of the sisters came in defense and said, well, why don't you just be like, how can I help you? And then they wanted to take a different approach. And what I tried to explain to those sisters was, yes, a brother could say, Queen, how can I help you? That's an approach. But it ain't no different than the dude that's saying, why you ain't got no man doing it? I understand that women think those approaches are different, but they really mean the same thing. One guy just taking another angle. And so for sisters to be upset at how a man tries to holler at you and when, y'all should never be that upset about it. Because the reason you should never be upset is because, one, that's what men do. And once you know that, just be charming about your no.
Yeah,
Period.
and you know what after that particular situation, because like I said, I went through different stages, and I went through that stage where I was always like, I'm gonna ask him, or whatever. And then it was kind of like, dang, I was kind of getting a hard time. And then when he came to me like that, I was like, you know what, I took a step back and I got back in my bag, and I was like, you know what, okay, I see what this is. So it's like, even if it's a thing, even if I don't even want this man, I could prolong this instance for a minute. Like, he could go and help me with everything I need to right here, right now, or whatever the case may be, because now he really trying to, do the most or whatever. So in that particular situation, it had got to the point where I was like, okay, I was like, sure, you can have my number. And I was only there for I was only there for, just on a little vacation for the holiday or whatever. I went out to dinner with him and everything. I actually ended up talking to him some, when I came back home, but it was just a thing. He became a bugaboo. But it was like, I actually started talking to him when I came back home and everything like that. And it was just, now I'm to a point where I think what we mess up at a lot of times is we men be trying to tell women how to be women, and women try to tell men how to be men. And I can't. Men have ways of going by how they pursue and the things that they do, and the things that they experience, with even dealing with the rejection. And then what if after she accepts what it is that you're saying, how to follow through with things like that or whatever. It's a lot to process when you're in pursuing of someone, because you gotta kind of like put that bait out there. Then you also gotta keep hold of them to reel them in for real, for real. So it takes some time. So I think we kind of like overthink the nuances of what it is that the other person is actually experiencing when we're out here trying to like date and all this old kind of stuff. And I think that as women, when we're in a situation, our emotions are high, and we genuinely, like, a lot of times I don't even genuinely be needing help. I just feel like I don't want to do it. I'm just not gonna do it myself. Like, I don't see the point in picking up no heavy ass bottles of water and it's a man on the aisle. Like, I don't see the point in doing it. Like that lady at the car wash. See, me, I would have been like, no, I don't have a man. I don't know why I'm out here single by my. I don't know what to do. Like, oh my God, so hot. Matter of fact, he would have ended up washing my car for me, because I would have stepped back. Like, I would have let him talk his ass off and run his game and wash my damn car.
But
and vacuum it
situation,
out too.
I feel you, but here's the situation. She did want to do it herself. And all I'm simply saying is just tell him no and don't be bothered by
Yeah.
him
You don't have to internalize it to make it seem like he's saying something more than what he really is, and he's just trying to holler.
trying to holler. He ain't trying to say you ain't got no man or you ain't capable. Just say no, wash your car, keep it moving. Now, like I said, I don't want to make, I want to make this very clear because I got to go myself. But let me make it clear when I say expected men gonna holler, like I'm not talking about the man that says, well, what you gonna do for me? That's so obvious that you as a woman ain't gonna accept that and you're gonna move on. And I'm not saying you're supposed to be okay with that. You just you taking it for the disrespect because that is a disrespect. That's clearly no respect for you. So in that moment, you just be like, I'm not dealing with this respectful man, but don't apply it just because you ran into some men who talk like that. Because most men
Yeah.
ain't willing to know what will you do for me. Even to some guys that think like that won't take that approach. They'll still try to ease it around to it. So for the guys that do that, ain't no system you should be running around. Well, I always got to do something for the men. No, you talking about the men that don't really have no respect. You don't want that dude no way. So even if he
Right.
didn't say it, that you don't want a dude that even thought like that. And but don't start telling us that's how men are, because most of us are nowhere close to the men that do. That element exists in the community. I'm not denying it. I'm not saying they're few and far in between, but I am saying they are
Yeah.
not the majority of men. And if you've had that situation a lot, don't blanket the men that don't have no respect for you uh, when they're the ones you don't want anyway, whether you realize it or not. Because
And
most
you
men
know
ain't
what? Now, since I'm hearing you talk and everything, and I'm thinking about it, to be honest with you, the way men pursue us is by doing things for us anyway. Like, whether we're in a situation where or not, like, men pursue us by doing stuff for us anyway. So it's because I've had instances. Now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, duh, Deasia. I've had like, because I've had situations where it'd be like, this man, he ain't coming at me, I really don't even know, but he'll be like, um how you need some gas in your car, how your car running, how have you ate today, or like, can I take you out, like, even like, can I take you out, like, even dating and
right.
going out on dates and stuff like that. That's a man pursuing you by doing something for you. So it's not unrealistic, when I think about it, for them to try and get your number, because even if they got your number under other circumstances, the next step is trying to do something for you anyway in order to reel you in.
Right. And here's the other thing. So from a woman's perspective, who like, I just want to put this from full perspective. So in the day's age, in this equality age, in this women age, they'll be like, why can't you just do it sincerely for a friend? Like, he attracted to you. What the fuck you mean? Like what I'm saying is, we take a bunch of rejections. We're gonna take 9 no's for a yes. So here it is. It is sincere, but he's attracted to you. He's supposed, like, you understand what I'm saying? He's attracted to you. He ain't
We
supposed
want him to negate his nature so he could help us fix a tire.
to,
Right.
so
Like,
he
I actually just so happens to bump into this woman, and she's on side of the road, and I think she's absolutely beautiful, and I'm just gonna fix this tire, and I'm gonna walk away and not shoot this shot. I'm gonna feel like an idiot when I get home.
because here's the other. So think about this. Despite the fact that I'm attracted and I shoot my shot, she still got a topics. Like, so I'm saying to the women, like, saying, why can't they do that? Well, get stuck doing everything yourself. Again, to my friend's credit, she wanted to do it herself. I'm just simply say no and don't be bothered by the approach. That's all I'm saying to her.
Right. Okay.
Don't be bothered that, say, like I say, the guy that says, what you gonna do for me, fuck him. So let me get that real clear. But outside of cats like that, I'm attracted to you. That's the answer to your why. Why can't you just do it like you do your boy? I ain't attracted to my boy. So he just get it off the strength. Your fine ass or your pretty ass, I'm gonna do it off the strength, but I'm gonna holler too. And I'm gonna take my L like a man. And when you ask me to do something again, I'm gonna do it. Maybe this time you gonna see the boy, your boy right. So I'm gonna keep doing it, checking on, can I holler at you? Like, that's so natural, and y'all mad at us for it? That's whack.
Right. So in closing, because we're gonna go ahead and
And
wrap
I'm
this up.
yeah, definitely. I gotta go myself. So let's do it, Queen.
Okay. So in closing, basically you do feel like you do feel like men and women, they can genuinely be friends.
It only in certain circumstances. Most of the time, it's not smart. I do believe that it's
It's
not
not
smart most of
smart
the time.
most of the times for men and women to be
Yep.
friends, only in certain circumstances. Okay. And you also like we also so we gonna have to, because that's gonna start the show back up. So we ain't gonna get back into that. But it's okay if it's realistic and it makes sense and it's not something like crazy and just completely like being possessive and controlling. If you are in a relationship, you have a spouse or girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever the case may be, if you're in a if you have a significant other and your significant other does not approve of or feel some type of way about your friend of the opposite sex, we're going on record and saying that you should sever the ties with the friend of the
Yeah.
opposite sex
Yeah.
to establish your relationship. Is that
Spouse personally, I'll go. I stand on that. It needs to be your spouse or your fiance, or you see this woman as your potential wife, or vice versa for the woman.
so? Not
That's
just a girlfriend.
never that. That's silly
Okay.
for me. That's silly, and we bought into that world, but it's silly for men and women to be tied down to somebody who hasn't made a full commitment to you. I know y'all made a verbal commitment to one another, but at the end of the day, um, you don't want to miss out on your potential wife, even though you don't see it right now, or your potential husband, because you're tied to the wrong person who hasn't, because there is no fully commitment without the
And then
whole.
cutting people off when you haven't even you already committed to the friendship, but you cutting people off, your friend off, for somebody that you're not even fully committed with, and don't even see them right then as being somebody who is going to be there for the long haul.
Yeah, so people fuck that up all the time and end up losing a friendship over somebody that was there for 3 months, 3 years. That's whack.
Yep. Okay. Well, is there anything else that you would like to say before I wrap this up, Montoya?
That's
But
it. Check us out
when
every
I
Saturday.
end the live, stay on for like 2 seconds for me, okay? Don't hop right off. I'm gonna end the live and then stay on the background because I want to say something really quick to you. But they don't need to hear it. But anyway, thank y'all so much for joining me in Montoya tonight for another episode of Death of the Asia. If you're watching from Facebook, make sure that you have liked the page and you're following the page. If you're watching on Facebook, again, if you're watching from the Locked and Loaded page, make sure that you're clicking on Death of the Asia from this live stream and going over there and liking and turning on the notifications for Death of the Asia. If you're going to share the video, which I definitely want you to share the video, if you're going to share the video, please share it from Death of the Asia. If you make a mistake, hit the wrong button or whatever, it's cool. But we're trying to get Death of the Asia in the algorithm. I said it right, Montoya?
Yep, algorithm.
Algorithm. Okay, we're trying to get Death of the Asia in the algorithm. And also, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you have subscribed and you're turning on the notification bell. And matter of fact, if you're gonna share the show, share it from YouTube because we're trying to get to where the money reside. Okay. And also, every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern time.
I'm the Mental Dialogue Talk Show live on my Facebook page at Mental Dialogue, or on Mental_Dialogue on IG. Just go to the bio, click the link, and the show's running live every Saturday morning. You can call in and get in on the show with us.
Yeah, and
Thank you, Queen.
it's definitely always a very legendary show. So you definitely want to make sure that you're checking out the Mental Dialogue every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you might catch me on there. Sometimes I be popping up, So
Love
definitely make sure
bringing it. You bring.
you say I what.
Yep, and yep, find us on Spotify and all the music streaming platforms. You can hear all the replays on Spotify, on Apple's podcast, all of those too. Thank you,
Okay.
Queen.
And I'm on Apple. I mean, not I'm on Anchor and I'm on Spotify now. And also make sure you follow me on Instagram. But anyway, thank y'all so much for tuning in tonight. This was an awesome episode. you might see me popping up on my "You Can't Whoop Me," Deaths of the Asia edition when I go ham about the celebrities and trending topics or whatever. But that's on the little pop up thing. It's an impromptu show. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. We're about to tune out. Good night.
All I ask is that you think.
I knew you had to throw your little 3 cents in there.